When new airlines enter the market, the first question people often ask is, which one will succeed? But in reality, the more useful comparison isn't about who is better, it's about how different their risks and opportunities are. Shankh Air, Alhind Air, and FlyExpress are all preparing to enter Indian aviation, but they are doing so with very different strategies. From a business model perspective, the contrast is clear. Shankh Air is positioning itself as a domestic scheduled airline, targeting metro and high-demand routes where passenger volumes are large but competition is intense. Hind Air, on the other hand, is focused on regional commuter operations, using turboprop aircraft to connect smaller cities that are often underserved. FlyExpress appears to be pursuing a low-cost regional model, with the possibility of adding cargo operations over time, giving it a more flexible, but currently less defined positioning. This difference in strategy directly affects cost structures. Jet-based airlines like Shankh Air typically face higher leasing costs, higher fuel burn, and higher break-even load factors. Turboprop operators such as Alhind Air generally operate with lower operating costs, shorter routes, and reduced exposure to fuel price volatility, though margins are usually thinner. FlyExpress sits somewhere between the two, with its final cost structure likely to depend heavily on aircraft choice and route density. Route strategy further separates the three. Shankh Air is entering crowded, price-sensitive routes where established airlines already operate at scale. Alhind Air is targeting regional markets where demand exists but flight frequency is limited, reducing direct competition. FlyExpress is expected to adopt a hub-and-spoke regional approach, potentially benefiting from airport infrastructure and geographic positioning at hubs like Hyderabad. Operational complexity also varies significantly. Shankh Air faces the greatest operational pressure, managing larger aircraft, slot constraints at busy airports, and tight turnaround times. Alhind Air's turboprop model allows for simpler airport access, faster turnarounds, and more forgiving operations. FlyExpress's operational complexity will depend largely on how quickly and aggressively it chooses to scale during its first year of operations. All three airlines are launching under similar external conditions. Passenger demand is strong, infrastructure is expanding, and policy support is evident. At the same time, fuel price volatility, currency exposure, and regulatory compliance costs mean early execution will be critical. In the end, the approvals granted to these airlines reflect a broader policy intent to diversify India's aviation ecosystem. Their long-term impact will not be decided by announcements or launch timelines, but by how well each airline executes its strategy under real market conditions.